What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Commander, what up now? Um, I know it's been a while that I haven't been up here. Yet I do know the last time I was up here we was talking about sympathy. And sympathy basically means, when you have feeling or compassion for someone that's going through a situation. Like, my condolences on your loss, or I sympathize with you because you having a moment, right? But today we're going to talk about empathy. It's a little bit more different than sympathy. So let's just go ahead and just look at it from all perspectives, right? So when you see empathy, right, when you see the definition, it's the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, right? You see the words compassion, sympathy, pity, feeling, right? But it's not a pity. Like sympathy was more of a pittiness, right? Like like I'm so sorry, and this, that, and third. Empathy is a little bit more different because, as you see, it says feelings for another. It doesn't specify what type of feelings, but because we live in the world that we live in today, we always going to assume that because we all do assume. That's why a lot of us we do make asses of ourselves because we don't really get the opportunity to break down the words and really put it into context as we're supposed to, right? So when people is empathetic, right? For example, if somebody loses a mom, I could be empathetic with them because I've lost my mom, right? So I could sit there, it's gonna be hard, because you get the opportunity to put yourself in their position and really go through it with them. Like I totally understand it. Whereas sympathy, you don't really get the opportunity to understand it because you're so far away from it that all you can do is just have that pittiness to them. And empathy, there can be pity in it, but when you put yourself in someone's shoes, there is no pity because you're willing to walk the quote unquote mile in their shoe, or you already walked a mile in those shoes as far as the situation that is at hand. And this particular thing, we're talking about loss because I'm going to show you how to be empathetic, or show examples of how to be empathetic in another manner, right? But right now, like I said, you lose a parent, I could be empathetic with you. If you lost a sibling, I could be empathetic with you because we all went through a loss in life. We all lost something, whether it's a brother, a sister, a aunt, an uncle, grandparents for sure, right? We all understand what it's like because we have gone through those situations. We lost. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And what would grandma do, or what would granddad do, or we all been through those things. So those are the empathetic moments. But sometimes, even going through those type of situations, you have to be careful because some people will turn your empathy moment and make you feel sympathetic, meaning they will try to push you so far away that they don't want you to cope with them. They don't want to get through this with you. So you have to have discernment and read the room, so to speak. You have to sit there and really take your time and realize that everybody is not going to be in that vulnerable state of allowing people to come in and walk with them through their pain, walk with them through their suffering. Atmosphere, what's up, Chef? You have to really understand what's going on. You have to read the room. You have to pretty much be observant when you're going through these empathetic moments, right? Because part of the empathy is somebody allowing you to walk with them, allowing you to be a part of their situation and at their most vulnerable state of loss in this particular case, right? Because, like I said, it's hard when you lose. It's hard. It's very hard. You lost your business. damn, I know what it's like, because when I had my store and I was doing real well, and then all because of this happens, right? The loss is the loss. And because you understand the loss, you can be very empathetic towards that person. And that's a lot of the time, that's what we all go through. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just, without putting somebody's information out there, they did a live. It's like, hey, I just lost my mom. Y'all come with me, man, because I need the support, right? And I did that, and I gave my condolences, and then in my empathetic mode, if you need somebody to talk to, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to lose your mom, right? And they were like, I appreciate it, and you know, it's not that you want to build a pity party. It's not that. It's that you are coping to get through this thing, even as hard as, like I said, just the loss itself. You want to get through it. Sometimes people feel like it's the end of the world for a lot of people. Nah, you got it. You get to show that it's an end of something, but it doesn't have to be an end of your world, right? That's what empathy is supposed to be about. Making sure that somebody understands that I've been in your shoes. I've been able to overcome that situation, not because I'm better, but because I know there's something else out there for me. So there's nothing wrong with being empathetic. There's nothing wrong with showing that compassion for somebody to say, you know what, I'll walk with you. I'll sit down and just be the ear. Even if you just crying for about an hour, I'll sit right here and be there for you, right? When you in that loss. But do we understand, if we break this word down, that it's more meaning to it? We have to understand that. Let's break it down. EM as a prefix. It means to put into, or cause to be, or to bring a certain state, often forming verbs and nouns and adjectives like empathy. Uh, 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 it's many other words that you can put into, like employ, embark, embellish, empower, emphasize. You see what I'm saying? You can always bring a state of to that situation, right? That's what the M in empathy is. And when you look, of course, we did the pathy part, right? And when you go through the pathy, it's like, it's just a state of suffering or feeling, right? And a lot of the time when we look at empathy, we just go through this, we just immediate look at the suffering part. But the feeling part is also a part of that. For example, right? If we would really use empathy in its total capacity, there are people that are going through situations of gain, right? For example, if you gained your first home, right? If you bought a house, and you're excited, I can empathize with that, because I know what it's like when you get them keys for the for the very first time, and you open that door, and you say to, this is mine, and the joy and the excitement of that moment. You know what I mean? You can share that. Somebody could understand that joy and that comfort that you win. But because we see empathy only as a suffering, we don't get to enjoy the feeling of gaining something, right? And that's the thing that I want to touch on. I want to touch on the other side of empathy, the exciting part of empathy, right? When I started my channel, we had people like Atmosphere, even though, you know, he even though he doesn't have a channel per se, he's like, yo, I'm super excited for you, because you were so embracing in in the chats that we shared, we've been in. But now it's like, it's a joy that's coming from you when you do this on your own, and I'm excited for you. It was people like Atmosphere, it was people like Realist, it was people like Meek, Selena. Those are the people that, like, yo, I really understand that joy that you have in your moment right now. Because when I did mine, I felt the same thing, and I felt like I could take on any and every aspect of this thing, and for the most part, they have. So their empathy, it allowed me to watch them go through the trials and tribulation. And you know, there's been times where they've been on a hiatus because of, you know, life is life and things like that, just like I have. But at the end of the day, they still around. They still, you know, they still come through like, yo, you still going. Look, I'm proud of you, because, you know, it's times, you know, there's times where you may not feel like you have anything to give. It may be times that you feel like you're on fumes, but the joy that it brings you when you do the things that you do, I'm I'm empathetic toward you, because the feeling of you doing something in a constructive way is what's going to get you through, right? But like I said, but because we only see empathy as in a negative context, excuse me, we only gonna see, damn, it's doom and gloom. Somebody going through a loss, somebody going through this. I'm pretty sure people like Lisa J, right? When she sees people uh testify to where she's or where they're going through, you know, I just invested in this, and it's going up, and the value of it's going up, and I'm glad that I invested in it. She could sit there and say, when I started, I thought it was going to be a negative investment, but because you start gaining, I know what it's like. You gained $1 on your investment. You gained $10 on your investment. I know what that's like, and I am super happy that you're feeling the way that you feel. Don't you feel encouraged to continue to go on and go forward with your next steps in the world of investing? That's what people like Lisa J and Prez can bring to the table, right? But it's not a negative thing. They can warn you, like, just be careful, because every result is not going to be the result that you're getting right now. But at this particular moment, I am celebrating with you. I know the feeling of gaining that number in your situation, right? Empathy is not just about suffering, even though it's a part, it's a feeling. It's not just it's just not a one-sided word. Shout out to Word, because Word always tells us there's always duality in a lot of the words that we use in our languages, right? But because we only see that one side of it, we only see the doom and gloom. We only gonna see, what the world perceives as empathy. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Yeah, man. I remember when I lost my dog, or I remember when I lost my car. My car engine blew out. I was so sad because it got me through so many things in my life, and so on and so forth. That is empathy. I'm not excluding that part of empathy. That is a major part of empathy. But because there's duality in this word, we have to understand that feelings can be positive and negative. We have to understand that there's joy and there's going to be pain. You could emphasize in someone's pain, or you can emphasize in somebody's joy. Sometimes we have to emphasize in loss, because in this life, especially this life, as you get older, you're going to see people losing, whether it's loved ones, whether it's money, whether it's property, whatever it is. They're going to go through a situation of loss, because that's just a part of life. But we don't have to focus on the losses. We could focus on the gains. I like to focus on the fact that, I got people like Commander and Word and Atmosphere and Realist and Miss Chicago and everybody else. If I forget a name, it'll pop in, but forgive me at this moment. But the point is, I get the perspective of these people, and they encourage me. They say, yo, keep going, keep doing the things that you're doing. And it's like, they are empathizing with me, because they're saying, you know what? I see your intention, and I understand your intentions, because I've done it. And I really know that you are doing the right thing. If it doesn't reach anybody, you just put it out there. It may touch somebody down the line, right? That's an empathetic moment. Whether we understand it or not, that's exactly what it is. Why? Because they're understanding my thoughts, they're understanding my feelings, and what my perspective is, and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Even if I've been gone for, I haven't done I haven't done a live in 2 weeks. There are people still here to encourage me. Commander is one of the greatest and kindest people in the world that I've ever met, because she can sit there, she can disagree with you, but but the fact that she's doing it out of empathy for understanding and compassion, like, yo, I know what you meant. Maybe you should fix that up a little bit and look at it from this perspective. She's great at doing that. That's why a lot of people have high remarks and high comments of her, because she's awesome in doing that. But that's what you need in this life. You just don't need the negative empathy. You need all empathy. You need all of it in its totality, right? Because if you don't have that, if you just have naysayers, they're going to keep you down. And if you have just yes people, they're going to keep you in the clouds, even though there's no clouds to ride on. You understand what I'm saying? But when you have the totality of empathy, you take the good, you take the bad. That's a part of life. I wasn't going to sing the facts of life, but that's where I was going with it, right? And me and Commander, we always joke, like, you know what? Where's the faith? The faith is knowing, and knowing is half the battle. When you understand and know what empathy is in its totality, and you bring it together, you don't have to just sit there and just be there for somebody when they're down. Be there for them when they get the ups in their life. Be there for them when they say, you know what, I'm moving into a new avenue. You know, one thing, you know, shout out to BDB when he decided to make the move cross country. You know, we like, hey, we with you. I know what it's like because I left from New York and I moved to Georgia. Even though it's not the same state that you're moving to, the difference is going to be there. But the fact that you get to start anew is what's going to give you the gumps, the umph, the push to say, you know what, I'm going to make it there because I made it in the worst and one of the craziest places in the world, New York and New Jersey, right? When you understand that, you can say, you know what, I'm happy for you, dog. I'm happy for you. You know what I mean? When Tay was going through her situation, she was working and things like that. We missed her, but we was glad that she got the umph to say, you know what, I gotta work on this because I have to do things on my own and I have to take care of certain things. We had her back, but the fact that she got up and said, I need to do this, hey, we got your back. Whatever you need. If you need an ear, we're gonna be there for you. If you need the conversation, we're gonna be there. You know what I mean? Even when my guy, he hasn't been on in a while. I mean, he came on the other night. I'm checking like, yo, everything good? Yeah, I'm good. With the kids, the summertime and things like that going on in my life. And I'm like, listen, isn't it awesome to be a dad? You got a son, I have a son, right? The greatest joy I just had this summer was the fact that my son got his first job. I was happy. And when I reached out to a couple of people, they like, listen, ain't you glad your son? Yeah, isn't it like, not because he gets to make his own money, but he gets to understand how the way the world works, right? What you do for yourself, it just gives you a state of, I'm doing it. Now, I don't want to say independence because the way we use independence, I hate the way we use it. But in this sense, the independence is I'm doing this myself. I went out there and got this job. I went out there and made this check possible for me. And I'm happy, but now I have to tell them, listen, you got to be wise of how it's still a teacher moment, even in the empathetic mode. I'm happy for you, son, but listen, you got to save your money because one day you may not, you work in the summer youth. My son is 16. You work in summer youth. The summer is almost over. You know what I mean? It's that when it stops, then you're like, dang, now are you going to encourage yourself to keep going to work even though you got school? Do you want to work after school? How do you want to proceed this? I've done this before, son. I went to work. I went to work after school. I went to work after another job. I understand what you're going through. I understand how you feeling, son. How do you feel about it? That I feel he's still working. So I can be empathetic in both manners. I could be empathetic if you say, you know what, Dad, I miss the fact that I'm not working, or Dad, you know what, I still want to work after school. And I've done both, son. I've done both. So what do you want to talk about? Just be careful. Just make sure, if you're going to work, you're going to be working at night because, hey, they're not going to keep you late at night because you're still 16. But at the end of the day, if you got to work till 9 o'clock, watch your back when you're coming home. We still live in a crazy environment. But the fact that he made the decision right? I can empathize with the decisions that he made, right? It's not to just say, damn, son, I feel bad that you lost your job. We're not at that moment. We're at the moment of, son, you chose to go to work. I was coming to get you for the summer. We were going to hang out, me, you, and your sisters. But you said, you know what, Dad, I think I need to take this step on my own and get this job. And I was happy. I was so happy for him, right? Whatever you save, son, let me know. We gonna go ahead and do what we do. I'm gonna match whatever you save up. You know what I mean? Even the fact of him trying to save the money is something that I enjoy, because hey, you learning these things on your own. I could be your backup, but you want to go through this by yourself. You have backup. That's an empathetic moment for me, right? The fact that he decides to go to work. Hey, Dad, I'm Dad. Not right now. I'm at work. All right, I call you. I'll hit you up later, son. Hit me up when you get off of work. I've never done that before, but I was excited because I've done it. You understand what I'm saying? But that's what empathy is. It's not just the fact. It's not just the fact of you going through a downtime, a sad time. It's about you going through a moment, an emotional moment, regardless to the fact, whether it's good or bad. Don't matter. You can have empathetic moments and happy. You can have one when they're down and sad. But it's up to you to go through it. You gotta be able to be around people that's going to support you through it. Like-minded people is going to get you where you need to go, right? Damn, man. I I was excited to go to this sporting event. Yeah, yo, let me tell you something. When you first get into that arena, man, and that's your favorite team, you're gonna be super excited. But just be careful, because if they lose, you might feel away. Or if they win, you might feel away. That's a moment for you. I know what it's like. Like this year is this NBA season was the greatest NBA season in my life. Right? The Knicks won a championship. New York is going crazy. We don't know what that's like. Us being under 60 years old, we don't know what that's like for the Knicks. But you can sit there, you talk to your people from Chicago, yo, man, that ain't nothing, man. But when you win your first, it feels like everything, right? It's a moment. It's people. Congratulations, man. Y'all reached the top of the mountain. You did it. Yo, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations for you and the Knicks, because y'all won the championship. All of these things are empathetic moments. We have to stop looking at the down times. If we go through down times, of course we can empathize with the people that's going through the down times. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to look at the good things. Commander wasn't here for a while. She had to do what she had to do for a family. We know what it's like. Riaz, good afternoon. It's almost evening in your part of town. It's almost 6. Yeah, it's almost 5 o'clock there. But good afternoon, right? When you understand what people are going through, whether it's good or bad, you can be there for them. You know what they're feeling. You know the excitement. You know the pain. You know the joy. You know the suffering that they're going through. All you have to do is be a human being and just be there for that individual, good or bad. Just don't be there for the person that's going through. Right? You enjoy the ride, win or lose. And when you go through those situations, guess what that means? That means you can possibly be a friend to that person. That's building a friendship, whether you understand it or not. Just sit back and think about it. If you just there for somebody's good times, right, and never around them when they're going through the down times, are you really a friend? And if you only there for them person, uh, as they're going through loss and suffering, and never there when they're winning, are you really a friend? No, but when you round it up and been around them through it all, they could be a friend. You could be a friend to them. That's what a friendship is supposed to be like. In their most vulnerable states, they allow you in, good or bad. And when you celebrate with them and when you go through with them, they know they have a friend in you. Damn, I just sounded like Toy Story, but that's another story. But that's what it means, though. When you really sit back and really think about everything that you grew up on, you grew up on losses, you grew up on games. I outgrew my toys, and now I'm playing video games. Now the kids now they don't know what they probably don't even play with toys like that no more. They got Roblox, they got all of these other things. They making friends in Roblox. But if y'all not going through nothing, are y'all really friends? On here, if you just there going through the chaotic situations and not being able to add stability into somebody's situation, are you really being a friend? But when you can empathize with somebody through the good and the bad, you understand what a friend is, right? Like, people, like I said, there's people that talk to me in the back, right? In the background. I will never divulge their information. But what they can tell you themselves is, hey, does he give out your information? Does he sit there and listen to you? Does he sit there and allow you to speak freely? Do you allow him to speak back to you freely? Does he criticize you when you down? Does he lift you up when you down, or is he just a yay sayer or a naysayer? Those people can testify to things that I do. But the one thing that they would more likely say, not because, is that, hey, I pick up the call, I'll pick up the text, I'll respond to the text, I'll answer the phone call, right? Why? Because I have empathy, because I've been through a lot of situations. That's why I call myself a cosmopolitan. A cosmopolitan to me is that you could fit in any situation in life. That's why I say adversity makes you more diverse. I've been through ups, I've been through downs, right? And people have been there when I was down, and people have been there when I'm up. I consider them friends. Now, does that mean I get to lean on them every time I go through something? No, it doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that there are people that rode the ride with me. That's what we need in this life. But because, like I said, we only see empathy as a suffering moment, we don't get to enjoy the moments or the feelings of sensation, as far as the upside of the emotion of empathy, because we only see suffering. That's how we all view empathy. Nobody really views empathy as, hey, wait a minute, there's some good in empathy, right? Because we have to understand that the feeling of joy, that we all had that feeling. We all had that first love. Everybody could tell you about their first love, the way it started, not the way that it ended. How did it make you feel when you was with that individual? I felt like he or she was the one. I had that feeling. Did it work? No. Yeah, we might have had the same result. But that's emphasizing, whether we understand it or not. We just emphasize the feeling of when we first had it, and we just emphasize the thought of when we ended the first love, if that's what we've been through. There are people that still with their first love, so they don't know what it's like to not be with their first love. But you had a first love. Commander had a first love. I don't know if Riaz had a first love, right? But if you did, you understand that moment, that what person was feeling, the way that they felt, because you got to experience that yourself, and now you can relate. I can relate to that, right? That's what empathy is: the relation, the relating of a moment in that individual's life. I don't want to say the losses, because like I'm saying, empathy could be losses and gains. You invested in yourself to go through ups and downs. Empathy is just that. The going throughs of the suffering, or the feelings, which means good feelings as well. I remember. Listen. I'm super excited about when Mr. 33 goes on. I'm still excited, and that's 3 years in. I'm excited every day to do that. Hey, I'm up here. I'm on. Yeah, let's go. What y'all want to do? You know what I mean? Let's talk about these. Let's talk about these sports. Some might say I have a little bit more passion now than then. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I get to enjoy. People can emphasize with what I'm doing. Hey, you sound like you really love talking about that stuff. I do. But when you just got negative people and you trying to be positive, that's not empathy, right? That's not that. Empathy is when you collide it all together. I just came up here because I wanted people to know that. And you could walk in the shoes of an individual. Sympathy, you could stand in the back and say, you know what? Oh man, my condolences. You lost your favorite. You lost your favorite pet. Oh my God, my sympathy because you lost a family member, right? Not too many people, not too many sympathize with a positive thing, but when you in empathy, you can walk in those shoes, whether it's good or bad. You know what? I made the investment in coming to YouTube, and my result is I gained a lot of good people. Right? There's no losses. Riders, blessings, blessings, blessings. There's no losses in that. I'm lying. I have lost a few good people on this thing, right? And people, and of course, people. I was rocking with this person, then they just disappeared. I hope they're okay. But the people that's here now, I'm they rocking with me because like, yo, you know what? I understand why you're doing this. I understand what it means to you. And I'm with that. The person that just came in, she's a perfect example of how to empathize with her. Her passion for the things that she's doing in her town is not it's not a suffering situation. It's a feeling of and it's a feeling of success for her because she's making moves in her town and there are people that is celebrating her. That's being and I know what it's like when you make a when you volunteer. I'll speak about this real quick. There was a time in my life that when I was so down, I decided to volunteer for little children. I was 13, but I would go to the after school program and help kids with their homework. I'm 13, but there's 7, 8 year olds that may not understand their homework. I go and do that. I'm not saying that's what Riders is doing. What I'm saying is I understand why she's doing it because she's saying, "Yo, somebody need to make the move to have that speech about what is needed here." I did it on my own. I just said, you know what? Let me go help these kids with their homework. And when y'all finish your homework, we can go out there and play kickball or we could play tag or whatever it is, right? The fact of the matter is, I can emphasize with her because she's doing something in a constructive manner, as I did in that scenario that I just gave you. Empathy is not just about losing; it's about what you bring to the table in a manner of speaking. Two people that's going through something, I could bring comfort to that person that's going through a loss. I can enhance somebody's thought process of elevating while they're going through a downtime. That's what empathy could bring to people. Whether it's acknowledged or not is another story. Whether you see it that way, it's why I'm speaking about it. Right? Like, damn, you really going, all right, listen. You might lose your whole entire mind if somebody like you. Oh my God, I just lost my husband. I just lost my wife. While I can't be empathetic, I can only sympathize with that because I don't know what it's like to lose a spouse, but I know what it's like to lose a parent. And hey, listen, that's just. What do you think your mom would want you to do? What do you think your dad would want you to do? Well, right now, I know what they want me to do, but I'm grieving. Okay, so go ahead and grieve. At that moment right there, I just allowed you to be the individual that can grieve because you might have been heading all of the situation on your own. I got to plan the funeral. I got to make sure the obituary is correct. But right then, I allowed you to be the human being that's going through a loss. That's an enhancement. That's a up. That's not a downer. That's a up. Because once I let this out, now I can focus on what I need to do. Right? That's a part of empathy. But if we only think about, well, damn, we just got to be there for them because they down. No, that's not what it is. You can add something to somebody's empathetic moment. You can pull them out of the doldrums, even in their empathetic moment. And that's the thing that we have to understand as we go forward. Everything is not about losses. It's about gain. Well, damn, Gary, you so positive. You just turned the negative into a positive. That's what life is going to be about for each and every one of us. We're all going to have a negative moment. But if we know what it's like to go through it, how did you get through that? Well, I just decided, to do something that'll that'll be pleasing to their memory. I go out there and reach out to the family, even though they may not reach out to me. I check on those people that is sick and shut in. Hey, you guys okay? Hey, cuz, what's up? Hey, OG, what's up? OG, what's up? That's what gets me through that suffering moment. And now the feeling of joy comes within that empathetic moment because I turned the negative into a positive. You can do that in an empathetic moment. You can do that. The question is, do you understand how to do it? Right? It doesn't mean that you're not empathizing with a person if you say, you know what, let's just go out and shop, or let's just go for a walk because you're feeling down. You know what? That beam of sun may lift them up, and you know what? I was so down, but I'm so thankful that you thought about coming out here and just walking and just allowing me to come outside. I probably wasn't outside for the past 2 weeks because I was going through that loss. But now I feel like there's life beginning to kick into me. That's an empathetic moment. It's not just about the suffering. It's about the gaining that you get when somebody is there for you. You get to gain a new perspective. You get to gain something new because a person's idea of you going outside, it lifted you up like, yo, I really gotta get up out of this chair. I gotta get up out of this funk. Really gotta go ahead and continue to live my life. And then in the back of your mind, you're saying, that's what that person would want me to do anyway. There's pluses in empathy, is all I'm trying to tell everybody. Right. And I just gave the examples of how you can, I could feel about, riders reaching 1,000 people. You know what I mean? She can reach 10,000 people. I'm happy for her. I'm happy. She just encouraged me to do the same. While that's not an empathetic moment, that's an encouragement to keep going forward. But damn, I didn't get that many views today. Nah, that's gonna happen though. OG, that's gonna happen, OG. Just keep going. I can hear her saying that without her saying it. That's how the connections of being, I'ma say a friend. People might not say as a friend. People might say as associates, whatever. But when I rock with you, you're not an associate. You my peoples. Point blank, period. That's just me. And this is not just a YouTube conversation. That's me in real life. If you was in my area and you was going through a thing, yo, I'm on my way. I'm over there. Yo, what's up? You good? All right, come on. Let's. You don't have this? All right, come on. Let's go out there and let's see what we can do. I'm like that in real life, and it's not because it's not because I don't understand what you're going through. But my job is to make sure to put some encouragement on it. You can have an empathetic moment and encourage. Oh, you too positive speaking. Okay, if that's what you want to call me, then that's it. You too encouraging it. Who the hell wants to go through life living doom and gloom though? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Nobody wants to sit there and think, damn, man, this is a fucked up state, man. I don't care about nothing. We're going to speak about that point. That's an apathetic person. We're going to have that conversation about that too. Stay away from them. Be around people that want the best for you. You've been around the person that's been sympathetic. Now we're talking about the person that understands what you're going through, but stay away from part 3. We'll speak about part 3 in another live. But in this moment, be thankful that somebody understands what you're going through. Be thankful that you haven't wasted the vulnerability, the state of being vulnerable on that individual that can help you get through your moments. We know it's a dangerous world. We've seen people use and weaponize your grief against you. But it's just something about somebody that understands what you're going through. It's just something about it where they can say, you know what, man? Hey, man, let's look at it from this perspective. Have you thought about it? If you did A, B, and C, you don't feel that way no more? Or if you do X, Y, Z, it'll make you say, you know what? I'm ready to go forward now. My grieving is over. You have to look at it that way. But I just wanted y'all to know that that's not all empathy is. Empathy could be a good thing. If Riaz go out there right now and say, you know what, this encourages me to make a song about this. Hey, I'm happy for him. Right? I'm happy that he decided to do that. He understands what I'm trying to say and makes a song out of it. Then God bless him. I'm not a hater. Empathy is not just about the down times, it's about the up times and how to get somebody from the down times to the up times. But because we only see the suffering part of the definition, we forget to add feelings to it and to enhance or try to enhance the feeling of doldrum into happiness or peace or joy. It takes a people a lot of time when they feeling down to find that joy. You might be the key to bring them peace though, and that's what empathy is about too. It's not just about the negative; it's about the positive. We have to stop looking at just that one sidedness of that word empathy and put it together. Will we make a lot of friends? Maybe, maybe not. But what you can do is you can pull somebody out of the depths of grief into a place of peace because you know how to just be there for that individual. Oh man, yo man, let's just sit here for an hour. All right, cool. All right, well, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. You start crying. All right, let it out. You feel better? Yeah, I feel better. I did my part. I did my part. I allowed you to be the person that you wanted to be. You got to grieve. You got to let all that frustration out. Excuse me. You got to do all of that on your time. And all I had to do was be there because I understand what you're going through. We need people to understand us, not to mock us, not to joke about us, not to play with us. We need those people in our lives so we can grow. Damn, I'm not feeling the love. Well, when that person knows what it's like to go through what you're going through, it's not the love that you feeling, but you have an understanding. Can it blossom into a love as far as being that good friend, that good person? It may just as well be. It may just as well happen. But you'll never know if you close everybody out. If you push that empathetic person out, they can only sympathize with you because you won't let them in. If you but even in that moment you may not be able to read the room, so that's cool, right? But just pay attention to the person themselves. If they just with you, they giving you your space, they're giving you their room, they pick up the phone even though you haven't called them during the whole ordeal, that person wants to be there for you. Read the room. Empathy is not just about, you know, just sympathizing with you. It's about helping you get through it because I understand what you're going through. We need people like that in our lives. It's not just going to be about the good times because anybody could be with you for the good times. Everybody could rock with you with your blessings. Everybody is probably, there may be people that's just with you for your blessings. Let's go through the downtime. Let's see how many people can be there for you. Let's see how many people can empathize with you when you go through that loss. That one that's standing with you because they understand what you're going through with your loss, that's the friend that you need. That's the friend that you should bond with. Those are the purpose. Those are the people that you need in your life. Don't be with me just for my good times. Be my downtime. Don't just be down here with my downtime because you might be trying to hold me down here because misery love company. Help me get up. That's empathy in its totality. When you got somebody there to pick you up, they got somebody there to keep you balanced, and they got somebody there to elevate you and not keep you underneath the ground. That's called a friendship. So empathy can lead to a friendship. And for me, that's worth the risk. That's worth the risk of allowing people. You know what it's like to, do you know what it's like to go? All right, I'm going to listen to you. That's why I was around. That's why I like to be around elders because they've been through things that I know I'm going to go through. But I'd rather speak to them because they have the experience. You can't be around young people because the young people can't experience everything. They haven't experienced anything. That's why when you become 40, 45, guess what you become? An OG. Why? Because you've been through a lot of the things that these kids may go through. You could empathize with them. Damn, man, you was working hard, then you lost that job. Sorry to hear that. You know what the best thing I did was I gave myself a couple of days, and then I got right back up. Scorp, what's happening, Scorp? I got back up and I got on, and I got to my next job. Yeah, you understood that you didn't want to be in that dwelling of loneliness or emptiness for a long period of time. I can empathize with that. I got up and got a job immediately. I can understand what you're going through, right? And that's what I'm saying. Use the whole word of empathy. Don't just look at the suffering. Look at the feelings that that you can bring to somebody that's adding. Okay, hey Scorp, enjoy that weather down in Florida. You know what I mean? You hey, everybody deserves a vacation. Everybody needs to escape. I could empathize with escaping. All of that working and not being able to reset yourself. I've done that. You burn both ends of the candles. I understand. I can relate to that. That's all empathy is the relating to what somebody is going through. And when you do have that empathetic moment, it's like, yo, you understand. That's why when people, yeah, I get you, you get me. Yeah, you get me because I went through the same thing. That's empathy. Hey, how did you stop worrying about all the naysayers? I just kept my eye on the prize. And if that works for you, hey, it works for you. But you realize that person been through the same thing, and especially if it works for you. But now you got to use it in your own manner. So in totality, man, we have to just really understand that empathy is not always a weapon of doom and gloom, but it can also be a weapon of joy and peace. Like I said, if you ever had the situation to get joy out of the situation, I can emphasize with that too. Hey man, I had my first job. Yo, wasn't that cool? Wasn't that great? Hey, I did my first live. Yo, did you feel relaxed as you went through the moments you started? You was nervous, but as soon as you kept going, your fifth minute, your seventh minute, your 10th minute, you felt comfortable, and then it just started to flow as if you was talking and not feeling nervous. Hey, I just empathize with that person. It's not always a negative moment of empathy. Empathy is a balanced word. It's a duality word. We got to learn how to be dual threats when we use certain words like this. Sympathy, all right, we understand. You outside looking in. All right, I'm sorry that you're going through your loss, but empathy is a lot more different because you get to walk. You walked in them shoes already. It may not even been the same shoe, but y'all in that moment y'all wear the same shoe size because you walk through it. Now you could unlace them, take them off, and say, you know what? We could clean this up for somebody else so they don't have to walk in these shoes full of mud. That's what it's like to be empathetic. That's what it means to have that compassion in your life. And as long as I'm here, if I can, I will be empathetic to anybody that needs me. Hey, that's too positive, bro. Okay, you call it what you want. Somebody might have needed that at that moment. Somebody may need to hear this right now. I don't know. But I'm just breaking down what these words mean for me. And I'm giving it to you. If it doesn't fly, let it fly. If you don't think I'm right, okay. I can agree to disagree. And I love you for it. But that's just me. That's just me in a nutshell. And that's why I will continue to do the things that I do. I may be gone for a while because I'm trying to, you know, make this thing balance out, make it make sense. Unless somebody say, you know what do you think about this subject? We can have that conversation or whatever. But in the meantime, I'm still around. I'm not too far behind. I'm not too far away. I'm a bust it down moment from you. I'm a sports chat away from you. I'm around. The question is, you know what I mean? Am I doing this for the right reasons? I think I am, but that's just me assessing myself. But if you walked in my shoes, you are understanding what I'm saying and you understand why I am doing this. So with that being said, shout out to Commander. Shout out to Scorp. Scorp, enjoy Florida. You know what I mean? Get there, get some rays, get some peace of mind, and have fun. You know what I mean? Because I know you're gonna be grinding as soon as you get back home. But enjoy that time in the meantime. Young Riaz, appreciate you. Chef, I see you, Chef. Good to see you. I was worried about you too. I ain't see you in a while, but now that I see you, I hope everything's well. I know everything's well. Continue to be a blessing. Y'all all continue to be a blessing. But with that being said, I'll be around soon. We will have that conversation about apathy coming up soon. Uh, but until then, y'all have a good time. Y'all continue to be blessings out there. I'm out.